October 21st. It's Wednesday. This is the Legit Betting Edge podcast, episode number 3. I'm Brian Benito with my partner, Scott Johnson. Scott, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing good. Looking forward to another big weekend in football, and let's get going.
Yeah, let's get going. I see some really big things going this weekend, and I know we'll get into that as the week progresses. We've got a couple of games we're going to go over, but let's talk about the World Series after we introduce how they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so they can go obviously on Twitter at ScojoAZ Sports. You can find me there. I'm there pretty much every day. Instagram is ScojoPicks. And my website, November 1st, scojopicks.com. You can find me. I'll have a lot of content on there. You can go there, cruise around. That will be up and running on November 1st.
Awesome. Glad to hear that's coming along. You can find me at @my_bankroll on Twitter right now, at @my_bankroll on Instagram. Building content, just cranking things up. So still in the embryonic stages of the post-COVID build up again, but nonetheless happy to be here, looking to promote this, get this big. Scott, let's talk about this World Series. Dodgers steamrolled the Rays last night. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the Rays are a good story. I was reading something where they said Mookie Betts and Clayton Kershaw, their salaries combined is more than the Tampa Bay Rays. So great story for Tampa Bay. I mean, I'd like to see them be competitive here, but I think the Dodgers are just, they're loaded. They're the better team. They showed that last night. I did play the over in the game last night, and the only reason I did that is I thought this playoff run for everybody has been so condensed that, pitchers' arms are going to be tired. I think the offenses were going to wake up. I think the offenses will probably wake up again tonight. I do like Tampa Bay in game 2. I think they have to win this game. If they don't win this game, I think the series is over. I know the Dodgers are going to kind of go with like a bullpen philosophy tonight. With their pitching, and I know Snell's going for Tampa Bay, so I'm looking for Tampa Bay maybe to rebound and win this game. I still think the Dodgers are going to win the series in 5 or 6 games, but I mean the Dodgers are just good. Mookie Betts, the Dodgers have just been ordinary in the playoffs for a while until Mookie Betts comes along, and I cannot believe Boston let him go. Of all the teams, Boston, New York, LA. Maybe Philadelphia, those teams could handle Mookie Betts, salary, and Boston lets him go. And I just cannot believe they let him go. And he lands in LA. And I think he's the difference maker for LA.
Yeah. The series, look, the Dodgers just were hitting last night, scoring, and they really opened that game up. I don't know, could the Rays win tonight? It's possible. They could clip the Dodgers. If they win, they'll win by, 1 run, maybe 1 run, I think. Does the game go over tonight? I don't know. The excitement of the World Series, the momentum of the Dodgers coming back down 3-1 against the Braves. They come in and they explode. You might see a slower, lower scoring game. Maybe. I don't have a bet on this game. As a matter of fact, I haven't bet too much baseball this year just because COVID and everything was all chaotic. But you're right. Condensed schedule, better talent, right? So you're looking at advantage Dodgers in that sense. And again, what you talked about, they just have the pitching. Rays are a good story. Would the Rays be there if the COVID didn't condense everything? Right. I mean,
probably not. But
and going back to the NBA, I mean, it's tough to gauge whether these teams really would have been there because more cohesion. With teams, if you play a longer season, right, better adjustments. But you play with the elements. It is what it is. But you're right. I don't see the Rays winning this series at all. But this game tonight, it's only what is it? What's the number right now? Plus 120 for the Rays.
Yeah, so I think it was I saw it as high as plus 135. I think it's like around plus 125 right now. I was actually looking for Tampa Bay in the first 5. Looking at that, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything on this game yet. I mean, I was looking at the over. I was looking maybe Tampa Bay first 5, but I have not done anything yet. I know,
sharp money coming in on Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it looks like a little more money coming in on Tampa Bay, but it's the Dodgers. They're just loaded, and I think they're just the better team. And Tampa Bay has been a great story. Like I said, tonight I think if they're going to win a game, I think tonight is the night that they win a game. Their offense has been bad, and if they don't score more than 3 runs, they're not going to win any games. Because I think the Dodgers are scoring 4+ every game, so they got to get the bats going, or they're going to be toast.
Agree with you on that. Understand that. All right, so let's move on to football. I know there's guys that are really hitting the Major League Baseball on Twitter. I saw some guys just really playing it well. I'm not betting this game tonight, so but I'm more than happy to talk about football tomorrow night. It's Thursday. Let's start with the college football game. Art State, after that gigantic offensive explosion last week, comes back and they're going into App State. App State hasn't played for a few weeks. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I watched that whole Arkansas State, Georgia State game.
Yeah.
I think it was the last Thursday night, and they showed a stat that Arkansas State plays with two quarterbacks, so they got Hatcher and Bonner, and back-to-back games they've each thrown 3 touchdowns. That blew me away. I couldn't believe.
Ridiculous.
I had to go look at it and see if that was real, and I'm like, holy crap, that really did happen. So Arkansas, they're going to throw the ball. They're going to keep throwing the ball, and then when they're tired, they're going to throw the ball some more. So, this is going to be their 6th game, Arkansas' 6th game. And like you said, App State, they haven't played. I mean, I think this is going to be their 4th game. So, they played Marshall tough. I think they lost that game 17-7. I'm not very familiar. I looked at numbers. I haven't seen App State play. So, this probably isn't a game that I'm going to touch. I mean, watching Arkansas State, I know that their defense isn't a defense and their offense just keeps throwing. So they can put up points and they're going to give up points. So, the 67.5, a good number. I haven't seen App State play. I don't know if they're, a running team. By looking at the numbers, they're not putting up a ton of offense. But I don't know. I liked Arkansas State. I like their offense. I don't like their defense. So I don't really have a lean in this game yet. I'm going to keep looking at it, but I've got nothing going in this game right now.
I'll tell you what. Look, Ark State exploded, but Georgia State gave it up, and then Ark State gave it up too. So, but you're right. App State's had a couple of weeks off. I'm just looking at I'm looking at App State minus the points in this one. This line's moved up. It's crept up a little bit. I think it opened at 11.5. Maybe it's up at 13. Might even go a bit higher. I think they will cover that number. I think App State's due for a breakout game, and I think the numbers show that they're probably going to do it in this game. Arkansas State had a breakout game, an explosive game last week. I think their offense, peaked last week. So I expect them to come down a bit while App State jumps up. And my numbers show that App State is going to cover this number. But yeah, I'm not sure on the total. That total seems a bit low based on. I expect that total to creep up a bit before game time, just simply because of what Ark State did last week. I know App State hasn't scored a lot, but again, I do expect them to come out and put some points on the board tomorrow. Okay, so let's get something a little more familiar. The New York Giants, who are terrible and clipped the formerly Washington Redskins by 1 last week. They're going into Philly, and Philly made a run at the Ravens last week. Give your thoughts on this game, and let's talk about it real quick before you do that. Let's talk about Carson Palmer. He put some balls in the breadbasket of some of those receivers last week. That game, Philadelphia could have took that game against the Ravens had they executed early on.
Yeah, a lot of people are all over Carson Wentz saying but he hasn't had any receivers all year long. Lane Johnson's been out, his tackle. He's getting him back tomorrow night. He's getting Deshaun Jackson back tomorrow night, so he's getting a deep threat back. So he's been running for his life. He's, like you said, he's been, putting balls in the wide receivers' hands, and they haven't been catching it. So, Zach Ertz is going to be out. Sanders got hurt. They've just been battling injuries. I do think they're the best. And with that going down, I think this is Philadelphia's division to lose. I think they're the best team. I think that defensive line is really good. I know Philadelphia's won the last 7 against the New York Giants. I think they're 3-4 against the spread in that. I know some of the numbers I looked at, Daniel Jones is 0-3 against the spread in primetime games. Carson Wentz is 4-0 against the spread on Thursday night games. And the Giants, over the last 3 years on the road are 15-4 against the spread. So, those are just some of the numbers. But what I'm looking at is the Giants can't score. Daniel Jones has been, whether it's, Barkley being out or that offensive line hasn't matured like people thought. I just don't think they're going to be able to handle that defensive front of Philadelphia. I don't think they're going to be able to score enough points. And like I said, Philadelphia gets Lane Johnson back. They get Deshaun Jackson back. I've already placed my bet. I've got Philadelphia -4. I'm rolling with that. I love that number. I think this is Philadelphia's game. I know it's a division game. every time you get a division game, I'll keep saying it. You know, teams know each other and crazy things happen. I had the Rams last Sunday. I thought they would win that game easy, and San Francisco came out and played a great, had a great defensive scheme and beat the Rams in that game. So, but just, like you said, the Giants and the Redskins, that was just a brutal game. I don't think anybody wanted to win that game, but somebody ended up winning. I just like Philadelphia, and like they showed a lot at the end of that game against Baltimore, and with him getting Lane Johnson back and Deshaun Jackson back, I think Philadelphia covers this game.
What you look, Philadelphia's defensive line is good. They did shut down the Ravens for the most part. There was a couple of plays, but when you leave that defense on the field as long as they were, because they weren't executing on the offensive end, when you can't catch those balls from Carson Wentz, you put them in liability situations. But I think they acquitted themselves pretty well against a strong Ravens running game. So, Saquon Barkley's out, so they're going to have pressure on the quarterback for the Giants all night long. I'll tell you this. I see the total at 45. I know this line opened at 6, and Sharp Money came in and pounded it real quick, dropped down to 4. You got it at 4. It's 4.5 right now. It's creeping back up a little bit. I'm looking for Philadelphia, to get near the 28 range where they scored last week. I think the Giants will get probably close to what they scored last week. I'm looking at the over a little bit. I haven't made a bet yet, and I am leaning Philadelphia. They win by 7 or 8 points, 28-21, 27-20, something like that. Is what I am projecting for this game. So that's my thought on that. Will I have a play on it? Yeah, I will. Will my players be on it? They will. I might even shoot a video and toss it on Twitter based on what I see here.
Yeah, and you're talking about the total there, and you're talking about your numbers. So I was having a conversation at the golf course today when I giving a lesson, and we were talking about totals. When you handicap a game, you come up with a number. So if your total's 48 and the total's 45, you like the over. You don't necessarily have to cover the over by 30 points to play an over. I had Carolina. Yeah, I had Carolina and Chicago this last Sunday. I like that over at 44.5. It ends up 23-16. I don't cover it, but the game flowed. But there was a couple turnovers. I think there was a missed field goal by Chicago in there. So. It's the NFL, the margins are so thin, but you got to trust your handicap. You got to trust your numbers and, go with it. Just, an over you might think it'd be over by 1, but you got to trust your numbers. So.
Win or lose, you got to trust it. You got to pull the trigger on it. And hey, if it hits, great. You were right. If it misses, you take another look at it, see where you went wrong and go from there.
Yep. I totally agree.
We got the Big Ten starting finally.
Yep.
Right. Well, let me ask you this before we go into the Big Ten. We're going to talk about Illinois at Wisconsin here. Tell me about the Pac-12. Are they playing this year? I know California's in disarray. I'm not sure if they're playing. Fill me in on that.
Yeah. The Pac-12 is going to get started up the first week of November. They're going to play a 7-game schedule, so they've got zero room for error. I mean, zero. They can't have a cancellation. They have put protocol in for tiebreakers. If games get canceled. Larry Scott just put out a big release on what they're going to do, how they're going to break the ties. But, with California being as locked down as they were and Oregon as locked down as they were, the Pac-12 just sitting on their hands. I mean, Larry Scott, I'm going to say it, that guy is a bozo. He needs to go. They need a new commissioner in there. That the Pac-12 has just been horrendously run. The basketball's been a joke. The football's been a joke. I mean, the teams, we get no respect out here on the West Coast, and deservedly so, because I think Larry Scott is terrible. That being said, I don't think a Pac-12 team has a chance at a playoff spot. I mean, someone's going to have to go 7-0, run the table, and win every game probably by 25, and that team's going to have to be named USC or Oregon. Otherwise, they're not getting a team into the playoff. They'll take a one-loss SEC team. I know the Big 12's pretty much out of it right now with Oklahoma and Texas being hot messes there too. So you're probably going to see 2 Big 10 teams, and Clemson will be in there. So there's an ACC team. You're probably going to have a couple of SEC teams in there. But yeah, the Pac-12 is supposed to get started the first week. I mean, I'm excited because I think ASU is going to be decent. They start at USC, so we'll see what Herm's got going. So. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a mess. The whole thing's a mess, but they'll straighten it out as they go. I look forward to the Big Ten opening on Friday. This game looks pretty good to me. I think I'm going to put a play in it. Tell me what you see here.
Yeah, Illinois is returning a lot. I mean, they're going to be a veteran team with Lovie Smith, and this team at home last year beat Wisconsin. And I know Wisconsin's got I'm still looking at the game, so I'll probably have some more information on it tomorrow. I'll probably put a little bit out on Twitter, but I know they're not going to be the traditional Wisconsin, ground and pound. I know their defense is going to be decent, but it sounds like they're going to try to air the ball out a little bit this year. But 19 points, and this is not a traditional season. Usually these teams have 2 or 3 games to, kind of get into a rhythm and figure that they're not going to have that. So I think it's advantage Illinois here. Now, it's not something I'm going to probably jump on the money line, but 19.5 points, first game of the year. Illinois beat this team last year. They're returning a ton of players. 19.5, I think, is a big number. I just don't see Illinois covering that. I'm probably going to, like you, have a play on this game, and I'm probably taking the 19.5. I haven't made a play yet, but that's what I'm looking. That's the side I'm looking at right now.
I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you. When you talk about these teams have not played any games, that's a factor. Illinois jumped up and they beat some teams in mid to late last season. Then they dropped several games late. So which team's going to be more prepared? Come on, Wisconsin. And Wisconsin might go to the air game, but old habits die hard. They pound you on the ground. They'll run it out. I know it's 19.5. But I just think that Wisconsin will be more prepared, they'll execute better. And I think that Illinois has shown its propensity to, not do anything until the chips are like dire. And I think one game in is not going to be dire. Lovie Smith's a great coach. I think he took the Bears, obviously, and he was defense coordinator of the Rams when they went to the Super Bowl. And he did well last year. See, the team did come around. I know they got people coming back, but I just don't think his demeanor is tight enough for this team to be ready out of the gate. I think he needs to see a few things. He's a counterpuncher himself. I don't think he's a puncher. Wisconsin is a straight. They'll throw it down your throat right away. Illinois is a counterpuncher, and that's just the reputation of their school. And I just think that Wisconsin is probably the play in this game. I'll probably make a small move on Wisconsin minus the 19.5, kind of where I'm the opposite sides here.
Yeah, those are all great points, and it's for me, it's just like. 5 games in, is Wisconsin 19 points better than Illinois? Probably. I just with a new offensive, and this is just stuff I've been reading. I haven't seen them play. So I don't know if they're going to come out and air it out. They might be traditional Wisconsin. They might come in there and just bulldoze Illinois into oblivion. Who knows? But if I do anything on this game, I probably am going to go with the Illinois side, but it's going to be, all the Big Ten games, even Ohio State, Nebraska. You got Minnesota, Michigan. These guys, they're starting off in conference. So they're not getting, the 2 warm-up games that they usually have. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I'm sure Ohio State's elite. They're probably going to out-athlete Nebraska and crush them. But, Minnesota and Michigan, that's a scary game for Michigan.
It is.
So,
right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. So it's, I'm glad the Big Ten's back. It's going to be fun to watch. But Friday night, Wisconsin, I'm sure, we'll probably talk more about it I'll have some more information. So we'll probably talk more about it on the Friday podcast. Mm-hmm. But right now I'm leaning Illinois, but that's just preliminary. I haven't made a play on this game yet. So, but that's where I'm leaning initially.
And I understand. I probably won't play any other Big Ten game this weekend. I do when I look when a team hasn't played it down, I got to look at last year, at the end of last year to really handicap it. Otherwise, you can't do anything with it. It's kind of like when the NFL didn't play it down. I couldn't even. You can't go back to last year on that because different players are there, different coaches.
Right.
It's even worse. It's even tougher. So yeah, not going to be a big play, but I do like Wisconsin to cover the number if I do something. Again, no bets have been made yet, but that's where I'm leaning, like you said. Listen, in the future, I think before we sign off here, we'll put a betting edge question in here, either by the viewers or something that we think would equate to a betting edge for anybody who bets sports. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds really good. And I'm excited. November's around the corner here. College basketball, November 25th. So super excited about college basketball. I'm hoping everything goes smooth with that. I don't know what I'm going to do if that season gets interrupted or, hopefully they're moving forward all the conferences. It doesn't sound like anybody has any plan right now to back out. So I'm hoping the NFL can keep grinding forward. College football keeps grinding forward and we lead. And let me ask you this. I know we didn't talk about this, but maybe off the top of your head, NBA, are they moving forward? Are they planning January? Because I know that there was talk about a Christmas start, but I don't think they're going with that. Are they moving that to January? Do you know?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know there's any final word on it, but yeah, I did hear that at the end of the season, after the Lakers were crowned champion, they were talking about they wanted to do something, but it's just too late. They need to get I rest it and move it past and maybe get more foundation for how to move forward to get fans in the stadiums, right? That's what they're trying to do, get fans in the auditoriums to watch these games. Listen, if not for nothing, the NFL is laying the groundwork for everybody for how to do it. They're watching the NFL. They're seeing how they do it, how they're closing these locker rooms and then open them back up. And I think that'll be squared away by the time the NBA comes around for sure. For college hoops, it's still touch and go. We'll see how it goes. But, look, they're not stopping games at halftime this year. You know what I mean? So
I hope not. Yeah,
I want to see all conferences play because the more games are played, the better value I'm seeing. I'm able to grab more winners off the board. So I'm right there with you. I hope it goes off without a hitch, and we'll see how it plays out.
All right,
man. Let's sign this thing off. How are they going to find you?
Again, Twitter @ScojoAZ Sports, Instagram Scojo Picks. And November 1st, my website will be open, scojopicks.com. You can go there. I'll have all kinds of content. You can find this podcast. And also look for, hopefully by Friday or by Monday next week, we should have our Legit Betting Edge YouTube channel. If you're watching this, please share it. Please go to the channel. Subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the more things that we can do with the channel. We're looking to keep pushing content out there. So we're asking everybody to help us out. Go there, subscribe, retweet us on Twitter, put it on Instagram, share it on YouTube, share it on whatever social media outlet you can. Help us out. We would really appreciate it.
Yeah, without the viewers, we are nothing. So we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you pumping it out, retweeting, and giving us likes and commenting. Send us any questions pertaining to betting, and we'll put those on the air, and we'll just kind of develop this as we move forward. We do appreciate you watching. This is the end of episode number 3, and we'll see you on Friday.